All right, welcome back. So I wanted to show you a faster way to compute the product of a matrix times a vector. So in class today, we learned that if we want to multiply this big ol' matrix by this little vector, 2, -1, 3, for conceptual reasons, we really wanted to realize that this is really 2 times that vector, the first column, minus, with -1 times the middle vector, plus 3 times the last vector, right? So really what we want to notice is that what's going on is this 2 is getting multiplied by the first vector, the -1 is getting multiplied by the middle, and let's pick, I don't know, blue. This last entry is getting multiplied by the last column. Okay? And that helps us because we can think about span linear combination. Look, this is a linear combination of those 3 columns with weights 2, -1, and 3. Super, super awesome. But if we just want to calculate the product, I'll show you a faster way. So let's see. Well, what does this 2 wind up getting multiplied by? Well, that 2 is going to get multiplied by those things there. And what about the -1? Well, the -1 is going to get multiplied by the middle stuff, and the 3 is going to get multiplied by the last column. And so if we just keep track of all that, what we're going to notice, if we go across, what's going to wind up in the top row of our answer? Well, the top row of our answer is going to be 2 times 2, -1 times 3, 3 times 4. We're going to do those products, and then we're going to add them, right? So it's going to be 2 times 2 plus -1 times 3 plus 3 times 4. Right? That's what our top row is going to be. But we can do that more quickly by saying, look, in the top row, this 2 is going to get multiplied by 2, 2 times 2. This 3 is going to get multiplied by -1. So let's add that, 3 times -1. And then finally, this 4 is going to get multiplied by this 3. So let's add that in. Plus 4 times 3. Okay. Now let's think about the middle row. Right, the middle row is going to be, well, for the middle row, we look at this part and these numbers here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this row and we're going to match it up with this column, and we're going to multiply those entries. So make clear things. So what we're going to do is we're going to do -1 times 2. It's these 2 entries. Then we're going to move along to those 2 entries. So we're going to do 5 times -1. And then finally, we're going to do the last entries. -3 times 3. And so now finally, let's do the bottom row. And I'll show you the way I really like to think about it. I like to think about it with some sound effects. I like to go swoosh, swoosh. And I like to imagine that what's happening is that as I'm doing this row, by this column, the corresponding parts are going to get multiplied together. So in my head, when I'm doing that swoosh, I'm thinking 6 times 2 plus -2 times -1 plus 8 times 3. I'm just combining all those numbers together. Right? And at the end of the day, well, I guess I have to do the arithmetic. I have to see what number I get. So it's going to be 4 minus 3, that's 1, plus 12, that's going to be 13. It's going to be -7 minus 9 is -16. And that's going to be 12 plus 2 is 14, plus 24 is 38. Right? And let's just do it one more time, just to show you that this is a pretty easy way to do it. When I'm doing this this thing, all I'm doing is I'm going one row at a time, and I'm just matching those entries. So I'm going swoosh like that, and in my head, I'm thinking 2 times 2, and then I'm moving along. So I'm doing 2 times 2, 3 times -1, 4 times 3, and I'm just going to add up those products. So I'll do that in my head. That's 4 minus 3, that's 1, and then I'm going to add 12, and I get 13. Now I'm going to move on to the second row. So when I do the second row, I'm going to do this times this, and again, I'm going to do it in my head. I'm going to get negative 2 plus negative 5, that's negative 7, plus a negative 9, that's going to be negative 16. And then finally, in the last row, I'm going to do this in my head. I'm going to multiply this row by that column. I'm going to get 12 plus 2 plus 24. That's 14 plus 24. That's 38. And so I'm going to get 38, which matches what we got earlier. Okay? So once you get used to this, you'll see that you'll get really fast at this. Let's just do this one here, right? So I look at this and I say, oh, well, I've got the first row. Let's see what would be in the first row of the answer. Well, I'm going to multiply those numbers together. So that's 4 times 1 plus 3 times 2. So that's 10. And then I subtract 7. So I think I get 3. And then in the bottom row, well, let's see what the bottom row is going to be. I should get 0 times 4, that's 0. Then minus 15. Then plus 21. So negative 15 plus 21, I think that's 6. And so I think the answer there is equal to 3, 6. Okay. So this hopefully can be a quick process that you do. Comment, subscribe, let me know if you have any questions.